Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Our today's topic is it the right time to buy or should you wait? Right? So, why do I say that? We'll discuss it. As usual, I'll do my PowerPoint presentation, followed by our expert panel. We have Kishore Nagarajan, Prerna Mangal, Amit Puri, and Rajat Mangal as our mortgage brokers. Sandeep Chopra and Jayantha Singha would be a real estate lawyers. So Jay promised he will be joining today. I'm not sure whether he's in or not yet, but Rohit Singh, he's also a real estate lawyer, but he's wills and estate lawyers. He's specialized in wills and estate, so he has joined as well. Prasunji is here as our estate planner. Mohit Katoch is financial advisor, and Mustafa is the accountant. So any questions related to their fields, please feel free to ask. And no, disclaimer, as you all know, we try our best to compile all the information from reliable sources, but again, we cannot guarantee its accuracy. So please seek legal or professional advice before taking any action. Thank you. Now, this is the agenda for today. First, we'll discuss our TRAB September 2025 market report, followed by a new topic today we'll discuss is called the MLS Home Price Index. And then we'll discuss a condo crash. Is it a myth or is it a reality? Then we'll also look into whether is it the right time to buy or not. And then we'll definitely have a dip on our upcoming interest rate on October 29th and followed by our Q&A session. So let's look into our September 2025 report. So in September 2025, we sold 5,592 homes, which is about 8.4% more than September last year. Right. So which is a good news. It's going in the right direction. We are selling more homes now than we were selling last year. It's almost every month we are selling more homes, right? We even sold more homes in August, which is normal. September market should be more active than August, right? So this is as expected lines. And then we look into this slide, we are now still sitting somewhere near the bottom in the number of sales for last almost 10 years, right? This is expected. We have so much economic uncertainty. We are going in the right direction, but we are still not out of woods yet, right? And now months of supply, we are about 5.2 months of supply, which is sort of not very, very high. It's high as compared to Toronto standards. We were used to under 3 months of inventory. Now we are at about 5.2 months of inventory. Last year, we had 4.7 months of inventory at the same time. So we are 10% more inventory this year as compared to last year, but similar inventory from last few months or so. Now, again, if we look into the number of homes which we have available to sell, we are almost near the top. But as you could see, we are coming down. So we are going in the right direction. We have a lot of homes. We had, at one point of time, we had more than 30,000 homes to sell. We have come down to now closer to 29,000 homes to sell. So which means we are absorbing more and bringing less, right? So which is, again, in the right direction. Now, average sale price is right now sitting at 1,060,000, which is about 4.7% less as compared to September 2024. But we are better than last month. We were last month at 1,022,000, so we have gone up to 1,060,000. So this small blip up and down, it will keep on happening. It all depends on how much inventory is there, how the interest rate goes up, and many other factors, right? And we'll discuss that in the later session. And now this is again the average home price. So if you look into the average home price, we are still near the top, right? Even though we are about 5% less, but we are in the group near the top. In the last 10 years, we are still, if we don't look into the couple of years of 21, 22, we are still in a very good territory, right? So this is, again, for the last 13 months from September 2024 till today, how many homes we have sold every month. So if you see, last year in September, we were about 5,100. October, we sold almost 7,000 homes, 6,800. Very, very strong October was last year, right? So we have to see if we can replicate it, right? It's very difficult because last year, September, October, November, we started calling that we are now getting back into the normal market because rates were going in the right direction and there was no other major factors impacting the market, right? But then after November, you all know what happened, elections in US, and orange guy came up and suddenly started calling names to Canada or whatever, and we started going down. So our activity dropped significantly from that time onward, and our spring market was actually very flat. But then come June, July, August, we started picking up, right? So probably people are now getting used to this and we are now getting better again. So this is the trend. Average price, as I said, it's not changing much. It's going up and down a little bit, 5% here and there from last year. So again, this is the average price, which does not show the right picture. Why I say that, I'll discuss in the next couple of slides. When you look into the micro analysis, again, different type of properties always behave differently. As we know, detached homes, we sold 2,661 homes out of 13,700, which is about 5.1 months of inventory, right? For semis, we are about less than 4 months of inventory. We sold 500 homes out of 1659, so which is 3.3 months of inventory. For townhomes, we are 4.3 months of inventory, and condos, we are still more than 6 months of inventory, right? So we are 6.4 because we sold 1,400 homes out of 9,200. Condos is still in a complete buyer's market. So anything whenever inventory is more than 6 months, it's a complete buyer's market. Under 3 months, it's complete seller's market, right? Actually, under 4 months, we call that. So 4 to 6 months is considered balance. So by that standard, if you look into here again, detached is still a balanced market. Townhomes is still a balanced market. Semi-detached is still sitting under 4 months, so we can call it a seller's market. Whereas condos is 6.4, definitely a buyer's market. We have seen 8 months of inventory. So keep in mind, from 8 months, we came down to 6.4 months of inventory. We are for condos also going in the right direction, right? So there is still some pain in condo segment, but it will take time to come back. Now, let's discuss another important topic here called home price index, right? Why this is the more accurate gauge to measure the market as compared to average price. Because average price, which we always normally people use to understand if the prices are going up or down, average price can be screwed a lot. Reason being is average price does not uh, take into consideration what type of homes are we selling, right? For example, I just will say last year we sold 100 condos, out of which say 50 home condos were one bedrooms and 50 were two bedrooms, right? So, and we have an average for that 100 condos. This year, again, we sold 100 condos, but we sold, say, 72 bedroom condos and we sold only 31 bedroom condos because right now we are selling more bigger condos than smaller condos. So because bigger condos are actually higher in price, so the average price will still be going more higher because we are selling more bigger condos, even though the price is coming down. So you understand the average price or the median price would not paint the right picture because it only takes into consideration what type of homes we are selling. It doesn't take into attributes uh, into the consideration. So for that reason, there's another indicator called home price index, which is our boards They actually advertise that every month, but a lot of people do not pay attention to that because it's a little bit more complicated, right? But that actually provides right apples to apples comparison for the same home type in the entire country with the same standard. Now, this is called benchmark price based upon that type of home. Now, if we say in June 2005, so January 2005, that is the base year. From January 2005, the average price was 315,000. In January 2017, remember when there was again a boost in the market and the market was going up and up till government introduced that foreign buyer tax, right? We were around 850,000. Market came down slightly after that. And then we all know what happened 21, 22. We went up to almost 1.3 million, right? And right now, the average benchmark price is about 970,000. That's called the benchmark price. Now, with the same standard, what's the home price index for these homes? So if we say, so January 2005 is now the base. So if we call 100 as a base for January 2005, so in January 2017, the same home was 271. The home price index was 271, which means the same home was 2.7 times more expensive. Come 2022, at the peak, same home was 406, which means it was 4 times more expensive. And right now, it's 307, which means it has now come down almost 100 points from the peak. So that's the home price index for all home types. It's composite, or which means all home types. With the same standard, this is the HPI, or the home price index, for different neighborhoods and different areas in our GTA. So for all home types, so average index is 304, which means if a home was 100 in January 2005, right now it's about 305. So it means 3 times more expensive. And the average benchmark price is about 960. Now you can see different neighborhoods are behaving differently, right? So the same index. Now you would say, why does Toronto is cheaper than Durham, right? So because the HPI for Toronto is 285, whereas for Durham is 345. Durham means Pickering, Ajax, Whitby, etc. The reason is this doesn't mean the price. So keep in mind, as I mentioned before, HPI means the same home which was $100 in January 2005 is now 300 in 2025. So York region, or sorry, Toronto has gone up from same 100 to 284, whereas Durham has gone from 100 to 345, which means Durham has appreciated more as compared to Toronto. It doesn't mean it's more expensive. It means Durham has appreciated more as compared to Toronto, right? So this is year change. Now, right now we are, as we know, we are going down every year. So the least, again, price reduction or price change is in Durham. And again, another reason why it's least is the supply, and we'll discuss that. Right. So this is the single family or detached homes, that same index for different type of homes in different neighborhoods, right? And look at the year-over-year change. So as you could see, Toronto is still most expensive neighborhoods. And reason being location, 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 right? It's 1.5 million, whereas Durham is 932,000. So even though Durham has appreciated the most, but still Durham is cheaper. Same home which you can find, say, in Toronto for 1.5 million, you can get for about 900,000 in Durham. That's what it means, right? I hope it was clear. The message has gone out. And now if we look into the, again, year-over-year change versus months of inventory. So this is why I was saying it's another reason is the supply. In Durham, if you see, the supply is the least. 3.8. Remember, I just mentioned a few slides back, under 4 months is considered as a seller's market. So Durham is still in sort of a seller's market for detached homes. Whereas other areas are either balanced, and actually Peel, which means Brampton, Mississauga, is actually in a buyer's market, more than 6 months of inventory. And that's why it's going down more as compared to Durham. And why Toronto is 4.58, which is in the middle, right? So Toronto, the supply is in the middle, is balanced almost, and also the prices are going down, but not as significant as in Halton or in Peel region. Now, this is for townhomes, similar story. So this is just the similar story for townhomes and for apartments. Now, apartment means condos. So when we look into the condos, this is another thing. So now actually the same condo which was selling last year is selling about 8% less this year. So now we have looked into all factors. We are not comparing like average, where, as I said, it could be screwed because of we sell more 2 bedrooms than 1 bedrooms. Now, same type of units are selling 8% less all over trap. And where they are selling or dropping the fastest in Halton, 11%. Actually, Oakville is, if we go municipality wise, which is not here, Oakville has gone down 12% this year, which means the same condo which last year, whatever price it was selling in Oakville, is 12% below than last year. And Durham is again the least, along with Toronto, right? And again, the reason for Durham is the same, least inventory. And condo, even though the inventory is more, it's also because of the location, right? So because Toronto is still 7%, similar to Durham, whereas I said Halton is the most. So this is the home price index. Now let's discuss condo crash. Is it a myth or is it a reality? What defines a crash or a condo crash? A crash is when there's a significant and rapid downturn in the market, when the prices are falling, when the sales are declining, when there's a surge in the unsold inventory, and when there's a financial distress in both buyers and developers' mind. All these factors check. Yes, they are all there, which means, yes, we are in a condo crash at this moment, right? The indicators are, of course, there's a sharp drop in the sales. Number of units being sold, both reconstruction as well as resale, are much lower as compared to years before, right? And significant but sustained decrease in the average selling price as well. So the prices are falling and sales are falling, which means, yes, there's a crash, right? Now, also, inventory is rising. As I said, there's a significant increase in the condos inventory. And economic factors are also playing an important role. Even though the interest rates are coming down, they're still higher, especially for condos investors, because it doesn't make sense when they buy a condo and then they have to pay mortgage and the property taxes and the maintenance fee. It becomes a negative cash flow, significant negative cash flow. That's why it's still in a negative territory. This is the total inventory. This is a graph from RBC. So right now we are having more than 17,000, close to 18,000 condos to sell. A huge inventory, right? Whereas in 2020 or 2022, we were less than or closer to 5,000. So we are almost more than 3.5 times condos to sell right now as compared to those peak times, right? And now there's a big financial distress right now. Investors and developers are both facing difficulties. There's a growing number of buyers which are not able to secure mortgages, especially for pre-construction units. right? And they are just walking away from the deals. And many developers are canceling projects and they're going into receivership. In fact, in the last 1 week, uh, two condo developers in Etobicoke in the last couple of weeks, they have canceled their projects. So we all know that, right? So this is all signs of crash. And what is adding to this crash? From January to July of this year, we have lesser new students coming to Canada. Almost 100,000 less students, 98,000, right? And 137,000 less new workers that arrived in Canada as compared to same time last year, which means in this period alone, we have 235,000 fewer newcomers as compared to last year. And keep in mind, last year was not the peak. Last year was also below the year before, which means we are dropping into the number of newcomers year over year. That is impacting the market because especially all these newcomers, when they come to Canada, those are the ones which rent or take this inventory, the condo units, right? And for the same reason, rents are dropping, right? Right now, in Q2 of 2025, the one bedroom units are 5.1% less, the rent. And two bedroom rent has gone down 3.5%. And on top of that, remember last session we discussed purposeful built rentals? That is growing. That's adding to the supply, to the rental supply, right? And the federal government and even the local governments, they are actually supporting that purposeful built rentals. So that's adding to this crash. How long is this crash going to last? A big question on everyone's mind because we have a lot of clients who are investors as well, and many clients who have bought condos for their own use. They all want to know how long would it be before it comes back. The good news is CMSC is calling this is, first of all, they're saying it's a repeat of 1990s. They're comparing this crash to 1990s, but at the same time, they're saying this is even though similar to 1990s, but there's a lot of things have changed in Canada as compared to 1990s. We are right now in an acute shortage of supply. Still, we are in shortage of supply, right? Which is actually going to help to clear this extra inventory once the other factors, other economic factors, which are at play at this moment, comes to normal, right? So after a period of adjustment, growth will return. This is CMHC. This news came out, or this article came out just a couple of weeks back, right? So this market will quickly change as per CMSC once other financial conditions and the buyer sentiments go in the right direction. After a period of adjustment, growth will return. When? Probably sometimes in 2026. This is CMSC. I'm not saying that. That's CMSC. They are saying that sometimes in CMSC, in 2026, the growth will start coming back. Now, this is RBC's graph showing how many new construction condos or new construction units we are selling in the last few years. As you could see, we were selling huge number of units in 2017, 2018, right? Then we came down. Come 21, 22, when the market gained momentum, we again sold a huge number of units in these quarters. And these are quarterly sales, keep in mind, right? But after 23, we are not selling new construction. It's almost negligible, only a few hundreds. And as you all know, we have discussed that before as well, it takes almost 4 to 5 years for a condo building to complete, right? So if we are not selling new construction since 2023, come 27, there's no supply from new construction. So that time, the market will turn around. right? We already have discussed that a few times before. Now, this is RBC's housing report, special housing report. As per them as well, the new condo market recovery is challenging, but with reasonable assumptions, the strengthening will come back in 2026. Will stabilize in 2026, and because by then the inventory will start declining. And in 2027, the growth will return. Second half of 26 to early part of 27, they are expecting a robust activity in 2027 as per RBC, right? Now, this is the RBC, the same graph where we were showing previously how much inventory is there. They are doing a forecast of the same inventory. They are showing that early 2026, the inventory will go till the top, like later part of this year. By early 2026 will peak in the inventory, and then the inventory will start coming down in later part of 2026 and 2027, and by 2028, if you see this yellow line, which is the sales, we will be actually in a good market. So we will balance out. By 2028, the market will become strong again. This is as per RBC. So now, is it the right time to buy or should you wait? It's $1 million question, right? But we can have a right analysis of that. We can make a proper right judgment. Now, why should you buy now? Right now, there is no competition. I should say there's a very little competition. There's a lot of supply. So if you're looking to buy something, and you know you're going to live in that house or in that condo for the next few years, or you're going to keep that investment for next few years, you can negotiate the hell out of the sellers, right? You can get a much better deal. And keep in mind, you have to have a long-term perspective. If you're buying for short-term, real estate is not stock market. You cannot buy something and expect to make gains in next few quarters. So that's not the real estate. Why should you wait? The market is still volatile. There's still a lot of economic uncertainty that can further impact the market. Interest rates, as I said, are still higher, although they are lower from the peak. We will discuss more about the interest rates in the next session or next, few slides, but interest rates are still higher. So affordability is still on the higher side. So uncertainty about the bottom. People don't know whether we have bottomed out or not. No one knows. Only the time we know that the bottom has come when it has actually passed, when the prices start going up, right? So because people don't know the bottom, and usually this is common practice, we all don't want to invest in anything when the prices are coming down, right? Even though we know we are probably near the bottom, we still want to wait, right? So that's the reason people are still waiting. How to make your decision? Should you jump in now or should you wait? Look into your own personal financial situation. If you have a stable job, if you have a solid down payment, and if you can carry the property with ease, don't wait. You can find a better deal, you can use it, and you can get a better property. So don't wait if you feel you have a good financial situation, right? Also look into your long-term goals. As I said, do not buy if you are planning to sell in next year or next few months. Has to have a long-term perspective, right? So if you have a long-term perspective, that's a good time. Also local market conditions and the type of property. As we have discussed in our slides previously, there are certain markets which are already tight, which are already in the seller's market segment, right? So if you wait longer and you have to buy in those segments, in those areas, you might end up paying more, right? So you need to take advantage now. So for that reason, you should seek professional advice please contact your professional real estate agent, right? And get the honest advice tailored specific to your needs. Also, contact other professionals like mortgage brokers, lawyers, financial advisors. They will give you the right advice. And we have a team of all these advisors. Talk to them. As we have discussed this many times, it doesn't matter what happens, real estate is always a wise investment for long term, right? As average home price in 1970s was 40,000, has jumped up to 1.1 million at the end of 2024. And as we have discussed before, even if at a very conservative level, it will be more than 3 million by mid 2050s. And at a medium prospective, it will be more than 6 million. So, which means it's a wise investment. Now, let's discuss our upcoming interest rate announcement, right, which is October 29th. As you all know, we had 7 rate cuts, right, in 2024-25, which brought down the rate from 4.75 to 2.75. And then after a long pause, we had another cut last time in September. So right now we are sitting at 2.5%. That's the Bank of Canada's rate. So what is going to happen? We have this interest rate announcement on October 29th. Are we going to have another cut? I'm not going to make any prediction. We have our expert panel here. We'll let them decide and let them answer this question. But for any other real estate advice, please book your one-to-one meeting with us. And now let's open our session for Q&A and ask our expert panel all these questions. Thank you. Okay, let's look into it now. Let's talk about our upcoming interest rate announcement. So we have Kishore is here, Rajat is here. Is Amit here? I don't see him here at this moment. So Kishore, do you want to take this dip?
Hey, Sam. Hey, look, I
Yes.
think there's one more rate drop. Something in my heart tells me it's not the October one. They'll do it in December just to start off the year in a positive note, right?
Okay.
So I think they'll hold in the October one, drop it on December 10th. That's the next meeting. And everyone starts off the new year on a positive note. This is my take.
Okay. So Kishore is saying in October, on October 29th, there will be a pause,
Correct.
right? And then we are expecting a drop in December.
Correct.
Okay. Great. That's, I think, is there any specific reason you're saying they'll be hold this
I
time?
mean, I don't inflation numbers are still they're in control, but they're not fully in the clear, right? Uh Unemployment data just came out yesterday. There was no change in unemployment. So the motivation, the impetus to drop is kind of changed from the previous time when there was a big jump in unemployment. So that's my reasoning.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So job data you're saying is showing that there is
Yeah. It was no change. It was 7.1% in the last 2 months, right? They were afraid that the unemployment numbers were rising too quickly and they wanted to reduce rates. That was one of the reasons cited on the announcement when they gave it, right? And now that the unemployment did not go up, I don't know how that'll change their equation.
okay.
I like the drop you predict politically for December, just
No,
before the new
it's
year.
psychological, right? Everyone
Yeah,
wants to
yeah,
start the new
makes
year.
sense.
Yeah,
It's always happened before, so we can say yes, it will happen. Yeah,
yeah.
let's hope for 2 drops then. Okay.
There's only 2 meetings left this year, Haji.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Let's stay 50-50 then.
yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. And Rajat, do you want to take a dip on this one?
Yes, good morning, everyone. I think 70% chances no rate drop and 30% chances rate drop because of the the job report, 60,000 gain in jobs in September. And so they're gonna hold this time, but they're gonna continue the rate cuts. But I really want the rate cut. But I think it's a 70%. I think 70% they're gonna hold it this time because of the job gains, 60,000 job gains in September, which report came yesterday, I think. Yeah, Friday.
Day before yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that as well. Yep. No, that's very good reasoning. So Rajat is almost in line with Kishore,
Yeah.
saying there would be probably no job rate cut this September, this October, but there'll be a rate cut in end of this year, right? The last in December. Makes sense, my friends. Any other person want to take a dig on this one? I don't think we have. Bhavin is actually on vacation today, so he's not available today. And beside him, uh, I think I agree with both Kishore and with Rajat that there would be probably a hold. It's a 50-50. I will still call it a 50-50. There's a 50-50 chance because job numbers, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Kishore, that's one measure, right? But at the same time, this
Yeah.
other big measure is CPI and other
Yeah.
factors, right? Which probably the report is going to come later part of this month. I think it's October 20th or 21st when normally that report comes, right?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
that will probably guide more Bank of Canada what direction they want to go.
One thing that's helping the CPI numbers is as rents have slightly come down, the CPI is looking better and better every month, right? But and as mortgage rates have come down, because both those factors are factored into the CPI calculation, right? Interest costs for housing and rents. So they have it under control. Let's see, Sam. I'm
Okay. You want to go with me 50-50 or you're
no,
still
I'm more in line with Rajat. I think 60-40, 70-30. It's yeah.
okay? Maybe I'm the only one more
Because
optimistic.
the other thing is the dollar is the weakest, right? The dollar is $1.40. It's kind of been slipping a lot. So that's my other big factor that I think they'll take into consideration.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I appreciate you guys are giving your professional opinion. I on this when I'm talking about interest rate, I'm talking like a consumer, right?
Oh no, it's
I
it's
want
look,
to drop. It's a
everyone wants a drop,
okay.
Sam, not just you. It's not just you. Everyone wants a drop.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Thank you. Great. You know what? While you are here, Kishore, I really want to ask you another question, which couple of our clients have asked us recently.
Hmm.
I got two phone calls in the last few days, in this week alone, right, where people are asking me that banks are quietly declining mortgage renewals. Is that a fact?
No, not in my, as I haven't come across anything like that because mortgage renewals are primarily administrative. If you've kept paying your mortgage on time, you know, your renewal is practically guaranteed. So in my experience, I haven't come across anything like that. What you are referring to sounds like that divesting that client or demarketing that client, or it could be a slew of other factors. I'm just hypothesizing, but I have not come across anything like that.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. You know what? That's what my take was. I said the same thing when they asked me. I said, you know what? I don't think the banks would do that or banks are allowed to do that, right? If you are paying your mortgage in time,
Yeah,
to default, your renewal is guaranteed.
correct.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Did you hear anything about that? Did you come across anybody saying their mortgage renewal is declined or any such
No, no, nothing like that.
nothing like that?
No,
Okay.
nothing like that.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so maybe it's just sometimes maybe just people a rumor. And I even asked them where did they read it or where did they come to know? Probably they heard some podcast or something, You know,
Yeah.
there's no actual news article or any place where they have that from because I wanted to know the source. And again, there are a lot of podcasts these days and a lot of clients listen to them, which there are a lot of fear mongers out there.
Negative news gets more clicks, Sam.
Yeah.
Always, right? So we want to give right information. We don't want to give too much positive spin or negative spin. We want to give the right information. That's our goal. But yes, you're right. There are a lot of people who want to spread that negative news to get more clicks, right? So
And moreover, there would be some factors behind it, like why the mortgage was declined. Maybe they are not disclosing those factors. There could be number of factors. The person lost his job or something like that. So there could be.
no,
We,
again, I think Kishore, you can answer that question better than me.
Yeah, so as long as the mortgage is paid on time, look, the mortgages are qualified at the time of application. Your life situation changes over the course of 25, 30 years. You could be retired, you transition into self-employed, right? Doesn't matter. You're not requalified at the time of renewal. As long as you keep paying your mortgage on time, your renewal is just an administrative process. You choose the new term, you sign, and that's it.
So what could be the factors behind it if someone is not qualified? Maybe if they're
Look,
that
I
exact.
have I know, like I said, it could be. First of all, I think there's more to the story. You're correct, but there's so many reasons it could happen. I haven't encountered it personally, so I can't tell you what it could be, right?
Yeah, so maybe they did
Yeah,
not pay the mortgage on time because the job is lost,
could be, could be.
something like that.
I think there
Default
was an announcement. I heard that they reiterated on your point that there will be no other stress test. Let's say at the renewal time, it automatically renews as long as you're in good standing with the bank, right?
Correct, correct.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think also there was another announcement by the government few months back, or sometimes last year, that you would actually can go to a different bank also, as long as you're renewing your mortgage, not refinancing it, you don't have to requalify. Is that correct, Kishore?
No,
No,
so it
no.
doesn't have to be stress tested again, right? So
Not that.
you'll be qualified at the contract rate.
Okay.
And even the rollout of that program, the wording was not the greatest, Sam. So some banks have adopted it, some lenders have not adopted it, right? Uh, so that is the challenge. So it's a or if you transfer your mortgage as is, instead of qualifying at your mortgage rate plus 2%, the provision was you qualified directly at your contract rate.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Great. Thank you. I think we have Mohammed.
But Sam, I disagree with what you guys are saying because lately we tried to refinance the 20 Thomas Raleigh, and we're going through a hell lot of uh, process. It's been almost 4 months just running behind. Going, I had to submit the whole set of papers more than what they asked before.
Hmm.
Or renewal or refinance?
Basically, what we try to do is I just purchased a unit one close to 1.5 year ago. Then I thought, okay, the interest rates are going a little bit on the downtrend. We were locked at fixed rate, so we thought I was trying to juggle out to try to move to an fixed rate, variable rate with a low interest rate and pay little what are the fine, whatever it's
Penalty,
called.
yeah.
Refinance. It's a
Um,
refinance.
Yeah.
so refinance, and we have been going through the whole set of things.
Ramesh, Ramesh,
Yeah.
refinance has
And renewals are different.
the renewals. We are talking about renewals. They won't retest you. And keep in mind, at renewal also, you just want to renew the same amount without any change. If you want,
Mhm,
say 50,000 more, then it's
mhm,
finance, right? So at the time of renewal, you're allowed to change from fixed to variables, right? But if
mhm.
between during your term, you want to change from fixed to say variable or variable to fixed, then it's still considered as a refinance.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking because the earlier in the first initial property we did variable with TD, and we did one time, and we never had to visit any paperwork until we paid it off totally. It was auto renewing every year, the term what.
Every term, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I think Kishore, you can answer that with that.
Yes. So at the end of your term, Mesh, it's you don't have to requalify anything. What you're trying to do is you're trying to change your contract in the middle of your term, i.e., you're breaking your contract and redrawing a new contract. This is called a refinance, right? So at the time of a refinance, it's like a brand new application to the bank, and you have to requalify based on today's qualification standards and criteria, right? So that's why you're going through the process. If you had just waited till your term was over and then said, "Hey, I want to go variable," you wouldn't have encountered this.
Yeah. Thank you. You know what? Let's change topic. And I think Mohammed has raised his hand. So Mohammed,
Yeah.
if you can ask your question, please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to chime in a little bit regarding some of the question and comments. I'm a mortgage agent with Mortgage Alliance.
Yep.
And thanks, Aji, for inviting me. Very informative meeting and insights. I love to get insight on real estate. So there was a comment regarding the banks not renewing necessarily like the mortgage of people um, at the time of renewal. So from my understanding, the banks sometimes do the soft credit check on people, so they get more insight on their financial situation. Even people have credit card line of credit, they do that often. That's how they're able to send those pre-approved credit card. You're pre-approved for this credit card for that amount. They're able to know what is your, your debt ratio and get those insights. So when they see that the financial situation has changed, they could decide that they're not gonna renew. They're not gonna renew the mortgage because they got additional insight. And in this market right now, you probably know there's a lot more power of sale. So they I will say right now they're a bit more ruthless in term of their risk. People who are making missing payment, or they're looking at all that, so they don't want to wait for the situation to get bad. They want to get out as quickly as possible and get the money back. So that's what I will say regarding yes, they have to renew, but it's not an obligation for them to renew your mortgage. They could decide that because they are fulfilled, as long as they fulfill that term, the end of the term, they could decide that they don't want to renew with you for the reason that they have. So making sure that you're paying all the bills on time is gonna help. Now, regarding the switch, yes, it is easier to switch to another lender, but for that new lender, you still have to provide all the paperwork, letter of employment, all this information, because that lender doesn't know you. That lender doesn't have any information about you. So we still have to pull your credit. We'll still have to put together an application and share that with that lender. So if your financial situation has changed, employment, more debt, less debt, so that lender will review that and make a decision regarding, even if it's a switch. I'm working on some file right now. It's a switch, but I'm putting together an application, sharing that with the lender, and then they're gonna make a decision. Yes, if you want to take more money, it's a refinance, but they're still gonna review everything, even if it's a switch.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank
Yeah.
you. So at least there's another perspective here from Mohammed that there are some banks who are pulling background information without us knowing it. And probably they are, for that reason, maybe calling off their renewal. Again, I haven't come across any such file yet. So Mohammed, have you or any of your client gone through that situation, or is it you're just saying based on your experience?
So yeah, based on some insights from my brokerage. I haven't had a client personally, but based on from insight from my brokerage, there are banks that have not renewed for yeah, for people who are
And
fine. But these people have to dig in and see, pull their own credit and see how their financial situation has changed. Maybe your line of credit, your $50,000 line of credit, when you took the mortgage, it was at 5,000. Now you're at, 45,000. So you've maxed out that limit. If there was a power of sale on your street or in your area, maybe that power of sale may have impacted the value of the property around. So there
sure,
is,
can you comment on this one? I still find it difficult to accept that the bank can actually decline a mortgage contract based on something happening in your neighborhood or other way.
Again, Sam, in my experience, I have not come across this where a renewal is declined through as long as you're paying your payments on time.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll leave this at this point. So very healthy discussion on this topic because we are running out of time. So there might be few other questions and few other topics people want to cover. Anybody have any other question regarding any other topic to one of our either lawyers or other like financial advisors or insurance brokers or anybody there? Any other question? While you're thinking about your questions, I want to also make another statement here. Now, Rohit, who's joined us today, as I said, he's also one of our real estate lawyers, but his main practice is wills and estate law, right? So,
Yeah,
Rohit,
thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of this. You're absolutely right. 90% of what I do is let it be anything estate related. Let it be estate planning, probate, estate litigation, guardianship applications, anything with estate related. The 10% does fall if it's an easy enough transaction. We will take care of that at the office. When it comes to entwining with real estate, when it comes to especially immigrants, our culture, that real estate asset is the biggest asset that this individual does hold. There are proper estate planning techniques that are involved to reduce the estate tax amount, let it be at the time of death. I know the hot topic right now that people are throwing around are living trusts. They find that to be an avenue to avoid estate taxes. The reality is, to date, the CRA hasn't filed for bankruptcy. They're not going to be filing for bankruptcy anytime soon. So regardless of this hot word, living trust, they will get their money at the end of the day. They're just waiting. They will get it. Another aspect is our parents are starting to pass away. And when it comes to our culture, unfortunately, the Ontario law does not care about your culture, what the intentions were, or whatnot. If you have a proper will in place, a proper estate planning in place, those assets will be redirected appropriately to the appropriate individuals. It's interesting. I would not have expected to see in our culture some of the conversations that we've had, and for every reason that there are, how assets are to be distributed. So it could be one of their children is not of sound mind. So now we have to draft special trusts in regards to that, et cetera, et cetera. It's definitely a conversation to sit down with me, have with me, look at the different areas that we can explore to avoid as much as possible with the estate taxes and whatnot. Does anyone have any questions, concerns?
I I wanted to chime in here, Rohit.
Yes.
I love what you just mentioned about, will and estate planning. I'm licensed also as a life and health insurance agent, and I am a big promoter of like having a will in my culture as well. It's not something that, we push.
No, no.
But if you die without a will, you die intestate. So the government is going to decide how to distribute your asset. So having a will while you're living, you making you telling the government how you want your asset to be distributed.
That's
So
right.
when everybody I talk to, even if they don't get a life insurance policy with me, I always ask them, do you have a will? Do you also have a power of attorney? So power of attorney, if something
Right.
happened to you health-wise, and you're not able to talk, you're not able to, what are the decisions that you want to make? Who's going to make this decision? If you have a spouse, usually it's the spouse, but maybe if you're not married, you have your brother, you have a sister, maybe they're the one who's going to decide, oh, what's going to happen to you health-wise. So wills and power of attorney, critical
Very
documents that I highly recommend people to have.
Yep, absolutely. You know what? Again, Prasun is also one of our state planner, and I would like Prasun to also chime in, and maybe also Prasun can connect with Rohit as well, because
Absolutely.
he also does provide a lot of state advice to our clients. And so Prasunji, are you able to? I know you're muted at this moment. Are you able to unmute and give your insight into this as well? It's a very hot topic, I know. Is Prasun still here? He was here just a minute back. Okay, looks like Prasun has signed off. He was driving as we saw him driving, so maybe next time. So yeah, but anyhow, this is a very, very important topic, and I really wanted to touch on this today because if you, as Muhammad said and Rohit mentioned, if you do not have a will and something goes wrong, God forbid, the government is going to decide. It's very difficult. Even if you think my spouse is going to get all my investment properties or
No,
whatever, it's not like that, right?
absolutely not.
You would not.
Absolutely not.
So yes. So definitely, and especially people who have any corporations, they need separate will for corporations. That's another reason to get your wills done. So I would definitely request everybody, it's our humble request that everybody please look into your situation. If you do not have a will, contact any lawyer or advisor for a will. If it's a little bit more complicated situation, then you definitely need more better advice from a legal expert or a state planner like Rohit or Muhammad or Prasoon, who are practicing this on day-to-day basis. Right.
Definitely. Uh, I wanted to say something quickly. Also, the people who have life insurance, I highly recommend them to share the information about that life insurance with their spouse. Every year, there's a lot of money that goes unclaimed with the life insurance companies
Wow.
because of those reasons. So if you have life insurance, your significant other, your spouse, your husband needs to know that you have that life insurance. They need to know the policy number. They need to know where is that life insurance. I've had situation where people call me, they need to do a death claim. They only have the policy number. They don't know, oh yes, my husband has life insurance. I have the policy number, but they don't have the insurance company. There are over 20 insurance company. So we have to call each one to find out
Yes.
that John Smith has life insurance with you guys. And when people are dealing with a death, this is not the time where they're gonna do this, where they're mentally, emotionally ready to deal with this. So let them know, I have life insurance with RBC, with Canada Life. This is the policy number, and make
Mohammed,
sure
that's a
you're on
very
top of it. Yeah.
That's a great point. And part of our estate planning process, we go through that estate planning process of we want the policy number, the statement, the fair market value. When did you purchase this life insurance amongst registered investments, corporations, et cetera, to really get a great understanding of what their financial background is. As we are not medical practitioners, so we cannot medically assess the individual. But on the legal realm, this is how we assess, is the individual of sound mind? How's the individual of sound mind? Well, tell us about your assets. And that's exactly a perfect example that you gave there.
Perfect.
Sam, I have a question. Can I ask?
Sure.
So, What in case we don't have a will, but at the time of each investments that we make, either in the RESP, RRSPs, or the investment mutual funds, there is a column who are the set of beneficiaries. Usually, what you have is a spouse, then after the spouse, the dependent child or parents. If those are already mentioned, and what happens if things can happen unexpectedly, and at the time we don't have a will, but those beneficiaries will be automatically be eligible for those money.
It's
Is that right?
it depends on the situation. If a child is a minor,
No,
that's
but
an example.
in my case, it's everybody is major.
Sorry, everyone is
Is major.
okay. Okay, I'm just going to give you hypothetical examples here. So let's just say a child is a minor. That's one problematic issue right there. Let's say a child is over the age of majority, however, they're on ODSP, and now they get a lump sum of all these funds that are going their way. So now their ODSP collapse. So there's all these different things.
What is ODSP? What is ODSP?
Ontario Disability Support Program.
Okay.
Let's say an individual has mental retardation or autistic or whatnot, and they fall under that category. Well, now it becomes problematic because they're no longer getting government funding because they were named as a beneficiary. Sure, it will go to them as a beneficiary, but now their other means of income have now collapsed. So sitting down and actually really talking about the nitty-gritty of everything, and I know death is not an everyday conversation, it's not a comfortable conversation, but if it's a transparent conversation, then the proper trusts can be drafted, the proper avenues can be explored.
Yeah, I think just want to add one more line on top of that. It's not you have already named, say, your family members on your plans or your bank accounts or maybe insurance or stocks or whatever as a nominee, right? So that's what. But at the same time, sometimes you do not want all the money to go to your child at once, especially sometimes they're unmarried. You don't want you money there because the money's at risk. There's many other factors. And for those reasons, again, as Rohit said, as Muhammad said, as Prasoon will say as well, like anybody who deals in this topic, they still advise it's best to have a will and proper will drafted. Again, if you have a simple situation, if you own singly one principal home, maybe one policy or something, it could be a very simple will, can be drafted by anybody by a simple ways, right? But if you have a couple of investment properties, you have more investments or whatever, definitely you need more sound advice from more detailed person who knows better about these situations, right? That's, I think we'll be there.
One last question, sorry if I'm quick
Sure.
one. Majority of here audience are here immigrants. So you have property back home outside Canada and within Canada. So should we have to draft two different wills for that, or one will take care of both?
So my recommendation is one will cover all assets. However, it's in a hierarchy. Ontario assets are always dealt with first, then anything outside of Ontario gets dealt with. However, if you want both situations to be dealt with at the exact same time, you get your will done in Ontario to cover those assets. And then have you heard of this terminology snowbird? These individuals that go down south for the winter. So I always advise them, get keywords being competent estate lawyer in, let's say, Florida as the example, to draft a will that only covers the assets in Florida and does not revoke any other will. There's keywords that I'm pointing out here. Because if it doesn't cover assets in Florida, by default, it will cover all assets. If it doesn't revoke any prior will, by default, it will void the will that you just drafted in Ontario. So it can be streamlined at the date of death where both assets can be dealt with at the same time, but it has to be constructed in a very specific way. And you're right, a lot of our clients, they do have assets, let it be passed down from them from generations back home to in India and whatnot. And that is the proper way to deal with it. But again, competent estate lawyer in that jurisdiction. I am a lawyer of Ontario, not BC, so I should not be going to a lawyer elsewhere unless it's in that jurisdiction there.
Okay, thank you.
Sam, time is up. I think we should
Absolutely. Thank you. You know what?
Thank you.
keeping in respect everybody's time. I appreciate everybody coming on this call today and having this healthy discussion. I hope everybody got some valuable information out of this session. Thank you for tuning in, and we would be recording this session. If you want to watch it again, let us know. And thank you for your time, and all the best for your weekend. Enjoy your weekend. It's again sunny out here. So Kishore, I know you always look out. So enjoy your day out there.
Happy Thanksgiving Day, and for those who celebrate Diwali, happy Diwali to them.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
very,
you.
very
Happy
well
all
said.
celebrations.
Very
And stay
well.
safe.
Again, there are a lot of celebrations coming up. Diwali
I
is
know.
coming up, so a lot of people in our audience here do celebrate Diwali. So happy Diwali to everybody, and yes, happy Thanksgiving.
Enjoy
Happy
your
Thanksgiving. Yes.
Thanksgiving weekend.
And thank you, Sam, for
Thanks.
the
Thank you.
presentation. It was really,
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thank
as
you.
always.
Yes.
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
All right.
Take care.